Hey, we want to back another little video here I wanted to make real quick. I recently, a little bit ago, rewatched Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, and my opinion has not changed. It is so horrible. It is one of the worst horror sequels I've ever seen. One of the worst sequels I've ever seen. It is a blueprint for how not to do a sequel. And oh my god, I saw this movie years ago when I was younger and I thought it wasn't good, but watching it again, it's maybe even worse than what I remembered. Where do I even start on this thing? I know, like, a lot of people have said other reviews. First off, they back out on the ending of Halloween 4. Good ending, showing what looks like Jamie stabbing her stepmother. Was it her aunt? Her aunt, I think. Actually, my mistake, sorry. And it's all blood on her. You're like, oh, damn. She stabbed her I keep saying that. She stabbed her aunt. That was a good cliffhanger. This time, however, they say, no, the aunt didn't die. She survived. I'm like, what? I don't know, what? That's such, like, that's, like, such a step back from the get-go. I'm like, really? And then you're thinking Jamie's gonna be, like, a big force in this movie. She really isn't at all. She's a mute character. And I'm just like, why? Why? That is how... I guess I don't know what they thought they were trying to do in that regard. Making her a mute character. She's such an interesting character in 4. Now they make her a mute character? Like, what? Why? She doesn't really do anything this time. Why downgrade her character like that? And then, Rachel... Oh my god, this is one of the worst parts of the film I've ever seen. Rachel, who was such an amazing character in part 4, she gets killed off like in the first 15 minutes of the movie. I'm just like, what the hell is this? Yeah, everything she went through in part 4, just to get killed off in such an unceremonious way. Yeah, Michael stabs her with a pair of scissors. I'm just like, that's such an anticlimactic and unceremonious way to kill off a main character like that. And that soon in the movie, I guess, I don't know if they were trying to do some cheap attempt at shock. It just did not work, I'm sorry. It fell flat. Came off as cheap, uninspired. And then... The whole thing doesn't even make sense. Remember in 4, when Michael... Spoiler alert, I guess you haven't seen the movie. Sorry, I don't know why I said that now. But Michael falls down the well. In part 4, I don't recall a stick of dynamite being tossed in the well either. But this movie shows there was. I'm like, what? I don't remember that in part 4. Anybody remember that? Because I don't recall dynamite being used at the end of part 4. I don't know why they were inconsistent in that regard. Didn't make any sense. And then you have Michael with a hermit for a year. I'm like, what is this? This doesn't make any sense. After a year, then, Michael kills him. I'm like, because he could heal or something. I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. I know Halloween Ends ended up doing it, but I could defend that movie to a degree, but that's a video for another time. It doesn't make any sense. And somehow they want to make it like Michael has a psychic connection to Jamie or something. I'm like, what? I know this is a horror series, but I'm like, this is turning into some sci-fi nonsense right now. I just thought it fell flat on its face. And, oh my god, Loomis. What the hell were they thinking? I mean, Loomis, you could argue the previous movies, he was always kind of a little controversial of a character. Like, some of his behavior was a little questionable at times, but you could at least understand to a degree what he was trying to do. This movie, he becomes so unlikable and just very crotchety. Is that a word? Crotchety? Like a mean person. He becomes so unlikable. So, oh my god. I mean, Donald Pleasance, I'll give credit. His acting is not the problem. He plays to the script really good. The issue is the script he's given, because his character becomes so unlikable, and you just, oh my, like, he's like borderline abusing Jamie at this point, verbally abusing her, basically, borderline to a degree, because he wants to know where Michael is. I'm like, dude, chill. I mean, he becomes so angry and unlikable in this movie. It's like a complete character assassination, I'd go that far as saying. And it's just, wow. I don't know what they were thinking making him like this way. And then they have these goofy cops with these goofy clown noise sound effects. I'm like, what is this? Was this a comedy all of a sudden? That was stupid. And then Michael wears this weird clown mask. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I doubt he would willingly take off his mask for another mask. It just doesn't fit his character, I think. Oh, speaking of which, he does take his mask off later on. For Jamie, I'm like, and he cries. I'm like, I remember when I saw this movie years and years ago first, I was so confused by that part. I'm like, Michael Myers crying. Is this a soap opera all of a sudden? That is so unbelievably out of character. And goes against everything they established up until this point. They even do like a close-up of a tear going down his face. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? It's, oh my god. I guess they were trying to show he had some humanity left, but I'm like, that ship has sailed long ago. And then things go on from there. And even the scene, what looks like a dead dog, the Doberman dog, Max, kept up. I don't know how long it's been, kept with Rachel in this attic in the house. I forget how many days it's been, but there's no body deterioration at all. Like, I don't know if it was a dummy. I mean, you could tell the dog was definitely like one of those rubber dummy mannequins. It looked very, very fake. Rachel, they may use a dummy. I don't know, but it's weird that how many times gone by their bodies haven't like deteriorated at all. I'm like, what? I guess they said it could take out. I think they said bodies would deteriorate after hours, start to break down. So it's just interesting how the bodies just don't look broken down or decomposed at all. Maybe I don't know much about science in that regard, but I would have thought there'd be some more decomposition. I mean, Jamie's acting in the scene, and when she goes, Max, Rachel, I mean, her acting's not bad. I'll give her that in that scene. The movie, Jamie, she does really good acting in the movie. Her acting is not the problem. She can act in the movie. Good job, especially in that scene. Like, her disbelief, her anguish, really well done in that scene. I'll give credit. And I'll give credit to the dryer scene when she's climbing down the dryer chute, I think it's called. Dryer chute. Or laundry chute, my mistake. And Michael stabbing it, the knife through it. That's a tense scene, and it's well shot. I'll give credit that's a well done scene. Then they introduced, oh my god, the controversial Tina character. And wow, is she so obnoxious. I'm just like, wow. They replaced Rachel for this character. I'm just like, wow. And then, of course, I mean, she was not well written. She was obnoxious. And, of course, I knew she was going to get killed off at the end. I'm like, I'm like, oh, she's getting killed off. I'm like, there's no way the movie's going to go. The movie's already at a low point. There's no way they're going to keep a character like her alive by the end. I just do it, and I was right. And it was just like, you killed her off. I'm like, it's not an awful scene. It's not an awful death. It's just kind of whatever. And then there's so many other problems with this movie. There's something else that happened I really didn't like. Oh, of course, the house, the Myers house. You know how in the other movies, it's like a little cottage style 2-story house, like a regular townhouse. For some reason, all of a sudden, it's like a gigantic Gothic mansion from I guess the 1800s or something. It looks. But it's not possible. What? I didn't even notice it. Silly me at first glance. I just completely went over my head when I first saw the movie. I was young when I saw it, so I didn't really pay that attention to it back then. But then rewatching it, I'm like, wow. That is so unbelievably awful. You go from a 2-story cottage house and a regular townhouse to a gigantic Gothic mansion house. I'm like, what is this? There's no even explanation they give. Did I miss it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't even explain why it's a different house all of a sudden. At least, the least they could have done was say they rebuilt the house. I mean, it looks like it's from the 1800s, I guess, but at least that would have been, it would have been a half-assed explanation, but at least it would have been some explanation rather than no explanation and just expecting us to let it slide. I mean, people argue, well, the Michael Myers mask changes almost every movie. Fine, I'll give you that. I don't know if it's because due to licensing issues each time. I could give that a pass, like a lot of people do. I could forgive that. Even the H2O mask, which is pretty bad, especially some of the CG they did on it is not really the best in it, but this mask in this movie is really not that good. It looks really ugly. The original mask, I think, will always be the best version. But, not only that, I mean, the ending, oh my god, I didn't get to the worst part, the ending. Donald Pleasance, Loomis, uses Jamie as a shield, as bait, to lure Michael further into the house. So then I'm like, no. Loomis is not that callous and reckless to that degree. He would not use a child as bait. And then, he lets a net go down on Michael, hits him with tranquilizers, which I never understood. Even Freddy vs. Jason did that later on. You're telling me it's impossible to neutralize these guys, but yet tranquilizers temporarily work on them? That's always weird to me. Then Loomis beats him with a tube, knocks him out. Tranquilizers start to knock him out. Then Loomis hits him quite a few times and knock him out fully, I guess. And he does get knocked out. Loomis falls on top of him. I guess Loomis was supposed to die in that scene, but they changed it, I guess. I don't know if that's true or not. And then you get one of the worst endings I've ever seen in a horror movie. Michael, I guess after they apprehended him somehow, he's in a police station with his mask on, in a cell, with his head down. He's sulking like this. That's probably not as accurate, but you get the idea. I'm like, what is this? The boogeyman, Michael Myers, in a jail cell, still wearing his mask. And then, of course, the Man in Black, which they hinted at a few other times in the movie, guns down the police station, frees Michael, and then you get that awful final shot with Jamie going, no, no. I mean, her acting's not really the problem. It's just the way it's done is just it's just so badly executed. The scene is, and that's the movie end on a cliffhanger like that. There's good cliffhanger endings. This is not a good cliffhanger ending. I'm sorry. And the worst part was, I mean, I didn't exist at the time. Halloween 6 didn't come out till 6 years later. A cliffhanger like that, they left everyone hanging for 6 years. I guess there were some licensing issues with the studio or whatever, but imagine being around at that time thinking you're going to get another movie soon. You had to wait 6 years. I mean, wow. So anyway, I just want to make my thoughts about this awful, awful movie. It's the blueprint of how not to do a highly anticipated sequel. What could happen when you rush a sequel, which I saw, I guess, behind the scenes. This movie, after seeing how successful Part 4 was, they rushed into this movie without a solid script, which is always a bad idea. You should never rush a sequel, never rush any type of work, because it's always going to turn out half-baked and half-assed, I call it. What they call haste makes waste. This is a prime example of that. It's always, always, always a bad idea to rush through art. Anything, art, movies, books, shows, always bad to rush. I mean, there are some exceptions like Scream 2, which came out in 97, the year after the first Scream, because the first one was so unbelievably successful. I'm surprised Scream 2 turned out as decent as it did. Granted, I do have some problems with it. A lot of people do, but considering it only came out a year after, I'm surprised it turned out as decent as it did. What other movie did that? Scary Movie 2 also. I know that's more of a comedy movie, but only came out in 2001, a year after the first Scary Movie, because Scary Movie was a massive hit. Scary Movie 2, I do have some issues with too, but I'm surprised it's not as bad as it could have been overall. But Halloween 5 is, overall, it's an example what happens when you rush things, you don't have a script, you don't have a direction. You just go into it without a clear direction or idea of where to take things. And, well, I've been on for 17 minutes now. In all, that's all I gotta say. I just want to get this off my chest of how awful this movie is. Catch you guys later. Bye.